I've pretty much always attended church. My dad was a pastor when I was born, so I grew up seeing firsthand the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes with church work. And thank God somehow I still wanted to be a part of it. When I graduated high school, I served as an intern in the youth ministry that moved into an assistant role, which moved into a high school pastor position role, which moved into overseeing the entire youth ministry. I did that for several years and then got a job offer down in a mega church in Southern California where I served as a high school pastor for a bit, came back up to the Bay Area, served in an entirely different role as a connections pastor, which involved overseeing connect groups and discipleship courses, new believers courses. I started a young adults ministry, and I started speaking in our main congregation on a semi-regular basis as well. So that particular chapter of my life was quite a whirlwind, but I learned so much from it. And then, as I've kind of mentioned in previous videos, I stepped out of that particular position last year to be a part of a church plant where I currently serve as the associate pastor and teaching pastor at that church. Regarding denominations, I've covered quite a few. I grew up in a small Pentecostal denomination called Foursquare, which is actually where I have my pastoral ordination. I graduated from Liberty, which is a Southern Baptist university. I worked in Southern California at a church that was EV free, evangelical free. And then the church plant that I'm currently a part of is actually non-denominational. But we do have relationships in so many different circles, which is really exciting. Relationships in Hillsong, in Foursquare, in EV free, in ARC, kind of all over the place. The most formative Christian community that I've experienced in my entire life has been the one that is the most consistent. The people that aren't just all talk, that aren't just saying, hey, I'm going to be there for you, I'm going to be praying for you, but the ones that have actually been there for me in the really difficult moments in my life and in the moments when I've had big decisions to make. I've had a group of people that have always been there for me and just aren't just talk. And I'm so thankful to them. And I'm happy to say that those are actually the people I'm working with now today too. So it makes life really special and really sweet. Regarding the most formative Christian experience in my life, I would have to go all the way back to 8 years old. My parents actually divorced when I was 6. It was very traumatic, very difficult. And my mom was on a really bad path and she became verbally abusive. The house was destructive environments, and so I had split custody. I had to go over there every other day, and yet when I went over there, it was the craziest thing because I would run by myself to the backyard. I had my Bible with me. I would open it up, 8 years old. Really didn't understand the majority of what I was reading, but what I did understand is that there was a God who loves me, and I began to fall in love with him, and I began to become so confident in the fact and in the reality that he loved me. And it changed my life. God became real to me in one of the most difficult and traumatic moments in my childhood, at least. And I know that example, that experience doesn't specifically involve the Christian community, but the reason I share it is because I really feel like it actually prepared me for the Christian community. To skip ahead real quickly, I'll go back to question 4, but question 5 is if we've had a significant experience of wounding within the Christian community. And I have to admit that when I first read the question, I actually chuckled inside because I thought to myself, where do I start? I have had people go behind my back and to my senior pastor, my boss, and lie about me, gossip about me, try to get me fired. I've had leaders absolutely abuse me, run me over. I was just a stat, I've kind of experienced it all, and it's really messy, and it's really hard, and it's really difficult. And yet what I'm so thankful for is that the moment that Jesus became real to me was actually a really difficult moment in my life. A really hard one, and not the last difficult moment. I've had plenty, and I have plenty even right now that I'm currently really working through, but my relationship with Jesus was formed in a moment that was so dark and so difficult. And so I never really had this romanticized idea of following Jesus. I just knew it would be hard. And so I've learned to forgive people really quickly. I've learned to, as one of my junior high pastor, Chad Veach, once said, you cannot take things personally if you're working in ministry. And so I've really tried to do my best to do that. Question number 4, the person that has been the most influential on my church work is actually a guy named Ern McManus. He's the pastor of Mosaic down in Los Angeles. The way that he communicates, how sensitive he is with his language, with his words to new people, the way that he even creates his model for ministry, it really is one that reaches out to people and makes everyone feel welcome and accepted and loved. So he has absolutely influenced and inspired me. I would go so far to say he's mentored me with church work, even though he doesn't know it yet. So if you ever watch this, thank you, Ern McManus. So that's a little bit about my church journey and my church context.